Hello, and
Hi.
Welcome everyone to a very special, as always, mostly bi-week episode from the Game Brew crew. We have lovingly called the GameView Podcast, where we will dissect a movie that is based on loosely or otherwise a video game and give it a rating with our handy Game Brew rating system. TM. Hey, you guys remember that time millions of years ago when a meteor destroyed the dinosaurs? Then Super Mario stuff happened?
Me neither.
Yeah, me neither. I'm Dan Rotz.
I think I wish I didn't remember it after watching it, but
I'm Dan
You
Rotz.
didn't remember it.
You didn't remember it.
but now I do.
I'm joined by whoever this week is three people.
I'm Chris.
Yep.
I'm whoever number 2.
I can be whoever number 3, maybe, I guess.
Well, I've only got 2 Super Nintendo controllers, so we're going to have to switch back and forth who gets to be whoever
You
number
don't.
one.
Can I get the Mad Cats one?
No, they didn't have those for Super Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Can I be Fireflower Pip?
Yes, you can because of the red, the
Only
vibrant red
because
hair.
of that.
And we watched the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993, and we're going to talk about it.
Yes, to be very clear, not the one that came out this year.
Yes, not the Super
Well,
Mario
that
movie.
Is the Super Mario.
Right. So that
Brothers,
is
right?
the Super Mario Brothers movie. The one from 1993 is Super Mario Bros. Well, it's brothers.
Adjacent.
but it's Bros.
But it's
period.
Bros, period. But technically you would say Super Mario Brothers. But this is a video games and beers and movie podcast. Anybody been playing anything fun that they wanted just to shout out real quick? Anything exciting?
Diablo
new?
4 is fun.
Diablo 4.
Yeah, Diablo
Dinkum.
4.
I've been playing some Dinkum.
Dinkum.
I've gotten
Dinkum.
several friends addicted to Dinkum.
I am one.
Nice.
She made me play,
She's addicted.
and
to
now I
Dinkum.
enjoy doing that before bed. So
If you
And Generation Zero. That's the other one I've played.
what's Generation Zero?
Oh my gosh. It's
Is
fun.
that
It's like it's a 4-player first-person shooter. Well, you can do 1 player, but you're basically against the kind of post-apocalyptic, but you're in a world against robots.
Oh,
so-
okay.
But it's like with Russia, I think, and Sweden.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it. I'm looking.
I
at
don't
it now.
remember. But yeah, I've been playing that with some friends, so it's
Nice.
been fun. Although first-person shooters make me a little sick, so I can't play too long.
That
Yeah,
sucks.
I know a lot of people. A lot of people have that problem. That's why Hannah doesn't play Fortnite with me.
But that's not first person. That's third person. It's different.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If the camera moves, very throwy uppy. I haven't been playing anything new, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I have
We can
nothing.
I want to share what I'm drinking though. Is that
I want to
Is that
share
okay?
what I'm drinking too, so you can go ahead and do that, Chris.
Okay. Well, I'm drinking Super Brewer Steve by Crooked Crab.
Nice.
Crooked Crab's
Awesome.
a Maryland brewery near Odenton.
That's
So this is
perfect.
a New England IPA. It's super dank and creamy, as you can see on that little
Super
badge.
dank and creamy.
super
Dank.
dank and creamy. So yeah, you can kind of see the creaminess. It's very light colored and has a lot of haze into it.
So what does dank mean in terms of beer?
So dank is usually a term used in the vernacular of people who smoke weed.
Mhm.
Okay.
As you
That's
probably might
Kind
know,
of was
maybe?
wondering.
Yeah. So it's dank is kind of like that smell when you open some weed, which I've never done before, by the way.
Mhm.
Anyone watching.
Mhm. Yep.
And you smell it, and it just has that very distinct
It makes you go.
weedy kind of yeah, that. And so there are a lot of beers that are super hoppy that kind of have a similar
That have that.
dankness
Yeah.
to them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Smell.
Skunkiness, kind
Yeah,
of.
good
Yeah.
skunkiness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, here's a new sound that we have.
I'm spicy and served hot.
So it's just on.
Nice!
I could just put it. I could just put it
That's
on anytime.
amazing.
Anytime that I want.
Oh no.
It's now it's a morning shock jock podcast now. This is how it goes. Don't say anything you don't want to immortalize forever in my soundboard that I have pulled up to the right.
Duly noted. I'll just shut up.
No,
then.
never.
No.
Say more things. I need more buttons.
Yeah, see this. She's notorious for this.
Also,
Just
Hannah's
saying
behind me.
the
Where's
best thing
Hannah?
at the best time.
Hannah says hi.
Is that what we're calling it?
That's
Sure.
that's just a
Hi,
robot.
Hannah.
Everyone
It's
says
like
hello. Hannah.
Weekend at Bernie's wave.
I didn't pull any strings
We
when that
think
happened.
it's Hannah.
It is, I promise. But what's the chuggability rating, Chris?
I mean, it's not super like it doesn't stick in the back of your throat, so it's like I don't know, probably like for a hazy IPA, it's pretty chuggable.
Mm-hmm.
But like for like a normal beer, it's probably not the most chuggable. So I'll give it like a 2.5 or 3
Like a 2.5. Well, remember, this is a different scale, Chris.
out of 5.
No, it's whatever. Okay, different. I'm drinking broccoli. It's by Other Half. It's called broccoli.
Is it brewed with broccoli?
No, actually, it says on the side. It
Sounds like a dank beer.
Is it also dank?
Not really. It's a double dry hopped IPA. Actually, probably is a little dank. But it says it's a hazy imperial IPA brewed with a hand selected blend of hops, giving notes of pineapple, citrus, mango, and white grape. Does not include broccoli.
So they just called it broccoli just because?
Yeah, look at the label. It's got broccoli on it.
I mean, it's healthy, right? Because it's got broccoli
you're
on
having
it.
your broccoli.
Yeah, I'm
Healthy
drinking
beer.
broccoli. So that's
Excellent.
great for you.
Maybe they've snuck it in, like they sneak in the vegetables, like you try to do with kids. To like,
It's actually
Get
in
your-
there. They're just lying.
mhm.
That's awesome.
I did have some hot sauce the other day that had carrots in it, which was pretty good. So
Yeah, like that. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like a bolognese. Then it's a tomatoey almost hot
I think
sauce.
with the amount
I
of-
could see that.
I don't know, with the amount of vinegar they put in it, it's still not. It's still like
There's-
still watery. Still watery.
Yeah.
But this is moderately chuggable. I'm gonna give this a moderate chuggable level.
Okay.
Carrie, are you imbibing any beverages this evening?
I am imbibing some witch's brew as usual.
Which is
Brew.
a secret.
It's just Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's just Kool-Aid.
Nice.
That's my secret. It's always Kool-Aid.
You're not wrong. Except when it's coffee.
Except when it's
Then
coffee, Kool-Aid.
coffee
Two different
Kool-Aid.
options. What's the best color of Kool-Aid? I'm not gonna say flavor because it's not flavors, it's colors.
I mean, this would be a flavor, tropical punch, because there are many reds.
You're right.
But this
You're
is
right,
the
you're
only
right,
one
you're
that doesn't make me have acid reflux.
Oh,
Only
interesting.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
weird.
I'm for
So
it. I'm for it.
The answer is blue. So
Blue.
Carrie's wrong, and that's
I don't know,
fine.
purple's pretty iconic.
Purple's pretty good too.
Blue. It's blue.
Blue. What's the chuggability level, Carrie?
5 out of 5.
It's not a number system. It's a how chuggable is it? High chuggability, low chuggability.
Sometimes we give it numbers just for fun. So she's
I've
right.
always said don't
High
use numbers.
chuggability.
High chuggability. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
can chug Kool-Aid till the cows come
Till the
home.
cows come home, or till your children come home, because then they'll be like, "Hey, who drank all the Kool-Aid?"
He's drinking that prime stuff.
Oh, ew! I don't like
Yeah.
that. I don't like that very much. Allison.
I'm drinking just a mixed drink, and it is
With what?
it is the new Baja Blast. Yeah,
Are you just saying Baja Blast is just a mixed drink now?
yes, it is my mixed drink. Like, look, it's purple though.
Oh,
So
the
it's
new one.
The new
Yeah.
one, yeah. So there's like 2 new summer flavors.
Right.
So I got both of them, and this is the first one I'm trying. I literally just
Is
got
it just
it
by
out of the car.
itself, or did you?
No, I mixed with it. So
Okay.
it is the
Rum?
passion fruit with passion fruit Malibu rum.
Nice.
Oh.
Very cool.
Yes.
What's that
And
one?
it's really good.
What's it called? What do they call that Baja Blast?
I don't know. It's Baja Blast passion fruit punch, I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
Nice. What's the other new one that they made?
It's Caribbean Splash, maybe.
Okay. Nice.
So I haven't
really
tried
like
that one yet. That will be the next episode.
Is it
but
is it yellow? Is it like a mango sort of flavor, maybe the other one.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Literally,
But how's the passion?
the passion fruit one is good. It's got like it tastes refreshing like Baja Blast, but it's got like a sour passion fruit note, which is good. So I really like it. It still tastes like candy, like Baja does. So this is the most ridiculous chuggability in the world. I don't know.
So high. The highest.
So high.
chuggability.
So high.
So high.
The highest
Chuggability.
plus 2. I would pound these and be on the floor very quickly. That's the chuggability.
Nice. Very good. All right.
Sassy Allison later.
Yeah, no, we're only drinking one.
She says now. But we're here. We're here just before we even get going. I just want to know first impressions. Chris, did you like this movie?
What a complicated question.
I
Yeah,
think that's
really.
good enough
That's
Yeah, Carrie, Allison, did you like this movie?
No.
No.
Okay, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. There were some lovable moments in it.
Okay. All right.
But yeah,
I hated
it wasn't a Mario.
Hated it. Wasn't enough
Brothers.
Mario for it.
No,
So
it was not.
so we watched the Super Mario
It's
Brothers
loosely
movie
based.
from 1993. Chris, did you write this synopsis of the
Yeah, I
movie?
kind of got tired of writing, so I stopped. So it's like halfway through.
So I'm going to read what Chris
Just
wrote.
kind of like how they just stopped caring about halfway.
Pretty much.
They probably didn't
Yeah.
even make it halfway through.
Yeah, pretty much. So here's what Chris wrote about the movie. So 65 million years ago. First off, it starts off with like this weird animated thing and a guy with a Brooklyn accent just going.
So
Is Dan Castellaneta?
yes, who is Homer Simpson?
It is Homer Simpson. That's why. I was like, that name, that sounds so familiar. And he was like,
That was one of the
65
things.
million years ago, a meteor hit Earth, causing a split in the universes where dinosaurs survive and the other one, but they can evolve into humans now. I mean, that's basically what it sounds like. And
Yeah.
then
That's so unnecessary.
it
And
was
like-
That
it was
whole
like
thing
claymation.
just, like, was it even claymation?
No,
It's
it was
like
like
claymation-esque.
it was like
yeah, it was
8-bit stuff.
pixels. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was pixel
okay.
art.
It was kind of like in Jurassic Park where they have the Dino DNA sequence,
But
but
that
worse.
sequence is way better.
Yeah, it's way better.
They did it in Paint Shop, okay? The old one.
Well, they didn't have Clippy. to help.
Microsoft Paint.
I don't understand what, like, when a movie does that, right? It's because they don't have enough time to set you up with a plot.
Right.
So they will just
100%.
like quickly drill you down on things. That helped me with nothing.
This feels like this movie has so much more. Like there was so much more filmed, and this is just like, okay, we have to figure out a story with what we have filmed.
Yeah,
Let's
how
cut
do we
it
start?
together.
How do we start this?
Well, I don't know. Did anyone like dig into this movie? Because I had many questions after
Uh-huh.
watching it, and I
I
dug a
constantly had
lot.
questions. Like most of the time, I was just like, why do they have to do it this way? Why do they have to do it like the hardest
Correct.
way possible?
Correct. So did you guys look at that?
No, but apparently you did.
Right,
Yeah.
it sounds
So
like you
Carrie,
did, so-
Carrie must have too.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I was
So
very curious. What happened?
I hated this movie, and we'll talk about the movie more.
We'll talk about
But I really hated, and the biggest problem I had was everything. But specifically,
This is
like
gonna be a
the
long
reason
podcast.
I know the reason it was everything was the plot was non-existent and all over the place, and nothing lined up. Well, like
Well,
it wasn't
but
even
they-
Super Mario Brothers, obviously.
No.
Right, but what the reason being is they created the movie on the idea that this is what the game would have been based off of. This is the real life story that the Mario Brothers video game would have been based off of. That's how they
So-
wanted to do it. Because there's a scene at the end, and we didn't see this when we watched it, but there's a scene at the end
Yeah, I was
where
gonna
it's like some
I was gonna ask, did anyone else watch the post credit sequence? Because
No.
there's
I
a
mean, I know
post-credit-
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you watch it on the link that I sent to you guys, at the very end, there's a post-credit sequence where there's two Japanese businessmen who go into an apartment, and it looks like they're talking to Mario and Luigi, but instead it's Iggy and
Bike.
Spike. So
Huh.
fun stuff. So that's
That's
the
funny.
whole. That's the
So
whole.
they're trying to make a deal of video game. Yeah. They're trying to make a video game out of their story, their heroic story.
But it just didn't feel that way to me. Like, it didn't feel like this was based on anything there.
So
they went.
Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie.
When they went to Nintendo to get the rights to do this movie, basically Nintendo was just like, well, we feel like our franchise is strong enough to not have to worry about, if this movie does super well or not, or that it could survive an artistic interpretation of the Mario story.
Well, I read that they wanted a lot of control, and Nintendo did. From a couple articles I read, it said that Nintendo wanted a lot of creative control, and so they were hiring writers, but the writers wouldn't let them have any creative control. So they actually had to cycle through a bunch of writers until they found ones that worked, and that's part of the reason the story is so messy.
Yeah, there were a lot of writers, there were a lot of directors, there were a lot of producers involved.
Right.
With this.
Right.
Movie.
So they cycled through all these different directors, and what I thought was most interesting is they landed on 2 directors who hadn't directed anything but music videos before this.
One of them created Max
Headroom. Yeah.
Right.
Which for MTV that was great. Also, if you remember Max Headroom, way to go, everybody! You're as old as we are.
That's great. I don't remember Max Headroom, but he's like a pop culture
pop culture
Max
icon.
Headroom
Everyone's seen Max Headroom. He's
my tween years.
So great stuff, everybody, so far. I'm going to go back to what the plot of the movie is so that we could describe it in detail.
No, we're talking about Max Headroom now.
So,
do we really want to go back to the plot of the movie?
We have to. Listen, we don't want to.
It's going to be quick.
First off, I do have to point out there was no Michelle Rodriguez or rocks in this movie, so we can't.
Ew.
We can't.
That's why it was bad.
That's why it failed. So basically, it starts off with that. Apparently, there was a meteor that split the two. There's like a world where humans evolved and a world where dinosaurs evolved.
Right.
Dino Hatton. So,
don't forget the name, Dino Hatton.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Dino Hatton. Yep.
So I guess in this version of things, instead of, you've heard of carcinization, where everything's just kind of evolving to be crabs.
Yeah. Yes.
There's been, So I guess in this world, everyone's evolving to just humans.
Humanization. But it starts out with that little thing. Then it goes to not present day New York, but 18 years ago.
It was present. It was 20 years ago.
It would have been 20 at the time. So it would have been, you see this lady running in a cloak, and she drops an egg off at an orphanage, and then the egg hatches and there's a baby inside. Oh wow! Also, fun fact: Daisy
orphanage.
It was a church. It was a Catholic church.
Which I'm very, very concerned. Why is it always nuns that are bringing in and raising something that the Bible would consider unholy?
Oh,
why is it always
nuns are nice?
It's a great plot point.
Nuns are nice.
It's a trope.
It's a trope. Nuns are nice and always do the right thing because they're nuns.
Yeah.
Maybe freaking Whoopi Goldberg was there, and was.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's how she got good at dancing and singing. So basically, and then there's that, and then the mom character is attacked by Dennis Hopper in a cave, and then the cave collapses. So then we go to actual present day New York, which is 1993, which you see Mario and Luigi Mario are plumbers that are down on their luck because they keep getting beat out by contracts by the Scapelli guy. The Scapelli coming in.
Right, and it's an important point to say there are 3 Marios, as they say in the movie. Mario, and Luigi Mario.
Yes,
right. So
3 Marios.
3 out of the 4 names are Mario.
3 out of the 4 names are Mario. They're heading to a job. Van overheats. Luigi goes to a payphone. Such a 90s thing. And meets Daisy, not Peach, because it's the original Super Mario Brothers. So it'd be Daisy was the princess who was in it. And she's an archaeological student who's working at a dig site that the Scapellis accidentally found whenever they were digging. And they found some fossils. So they have to look like they're doing a desert dig. So they're wearing fatigues and stuff, which is wild. Or they're wearing it was tan shorts I've got this vest that I need.
It's the like, you know, when you go to archaeology RS, like that's the outfit.
That's just what you get.
Which, like, huge problem for me. This is like big problem number 1.
This was the
And-
first
Yeah.
one. You
This was
got
the
all the way
first
here,
one.
and that was your first problem.
This was my first big problem. There are lots of problems, but we're gonna synopsis this because it would be the whole time I'd be talking.
I mean, this is going to be the whole time.
So Daisy, okay, make it Daisy, fine, but like, was there really not enough lore back then to accurately place her in the correct kingdom? Because they put her in Mushroom Kingdom, which is wrong.
Oh, that's right. Because
that's Peach's kingdom, and that's where I was like, just make it Peach then, if that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, but normal people aren't named Peach; they're named Daisy.
I guess. However, like, she's supposed to be Sarasaland. That is not her kingdom,
That's
and that
true.
bothered me throughout the entire movie. I was so distracted by that one fact.
that's the only thing that distracted you. The whole
No,
time?
that was the first thing, and it was so early that it was like the whole movie for me. I was just like, first off, they made her blonde, and they put her in the Mushroom Kingdom, and they're calling her Daisy.
Well, technically, I think I believe, I don't know if she was blonde. That looked like a dirty blonde. I think it might have been they were like a really lame attempt at giving her red hair without actually giving her red hair. If you know what I mean.
No,
you disagree.
No. I disagree.
More
It's just
That's fine.
than red.
Yeah, it was definitely blonde to me with maybe brown undertone, but to me it was blonde. I
Okay.
would call that blonde if I was looking at a lineup of hair.
Okay. All right. So, and we're introduced to these main characters. So, we have Daisy, played by Samantha Mathis. Mario, played by Bob Hoskins, of all people.
Great Bob Hoskins.
The late great Bob Hoskins, and Luigi Mario by John Leguizamo. No Italians yet to be seen in this movie. You know, the only people who are Italian was the Scapellis. I don't think that anyone else who played these Italian plumbers was Italian.
I mean, that's pretty unfortunately par for course for the 90s movies that should have had any kind of other ethnicity character. It was like, just whatever. Yeah.
So
you could do an accent, right? Guy number 1. You could do an accent. Do it, please.
Yeah.
My guy Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins could do lots.
Does an accent.
And John Leguizamo's Mario.
To be fair, my friend from Long Island says Mario.
Mario.
It might be accurate.
Yeah,
You remember?
It's a very like Jersey way to say
Clifford?
it, right?
No, he
Clifford,
was from
he
Long
says
Island.
Mario.
Yeah.
Just Mario. The Mario brothers. But there's so they like run into this girl, and then they take her back to the site, and they see that the Scapellis are the ones that are doing all this stuff. Luigi takes a fancy to her.
Oh, he instantly falls in love
He
day
instantly
one.
falls in love
Is
with
ready
her.
to get married.
And then they go on a double date.
They go on a double date with Mario and his girlfriend,
Daniela.
Who is a canon character.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Chris?
Do you know who Daniela is in the Mario world?
No.
It's the girl in distress in Donkey Kong.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's fun. I
That's
wouldn't
amazing.
have known that fact.
I
There's
like that.
something fun.
Yeah, so me and Dan were like hanging out a little bit before this, and I was like, "Oh, holy shit!" and then I didn't tell him that's who it was. Yeah,
But also, so they're on this double date, and then we learn a few things. We learn, number one, Daisy's adopted; she doesn't know where her parents are. Number two, we learn that Luigi, he keeps saying Mario is his brother. They are obviously not brothers. So Luigi was adopted, and he says Mario is he's like, oh, I don't have a mother. Mario is the only person who's been there for me. He's my father. He's my mother. He's my brother. He's everything. So,
How do you?
no, I think they are both. I think they're related.
They didn't make
they're-
it very clear.
Basically he was also adopted. He said that Mario basically raised him. So,
Oh, okay.
so
It was weird because it was like it didn't make sense if it was that way or if he just was so young when his parents passed away, when the Mr. and Mrs. Mario passed away, that he didn't know them.
Yeah.
So it could have gone
We left
either
it very
way.
gray. Yeah.
I'm not gonna put enough like stock.
I'm not gonna
in
dig
their
into that,
storytelling to be like it's that way.
I thought this was a thesis on the movie we were doing and how
No.
we're going to rip every piece apart.
No,
Is it
no,
not?
no.
Then
don't have
I'm
to
here
rip
for the
everything.
wrong thing. I'm going to leave.
No, don't leave.
Checking out.
Don't leave.
Bye.
Don't leave. Don't leave. But we also learned that Daisy was found as a child, and she has this piece of rock that she always wears. It's in ham-fist. It's all ham-fisted in the script into us. Be like, oh yeah, that's why I never take off this necklace that no one has referenced at all ever. But she's just like, I have this necklace I never take off. It's a rock. Surprise.
Well, her mom left the rock when she left the egg.
Yeah, but that's not what she says. She says
It's the same rock.
it's the same rock, right? That's true, but that's not. She doesn't really mention that. I think she just says that it's like, oh yeah, I have this. I never take it off. Probably was my mother's. No, you're probably right. She says it was my mother's. But yeah, and we're introduced to that relationship. Also, that like Mario and Danielle's relationship is going strong. Like they
are in love.
They are in love.
He is doing a great job.
Man.
He really punched up on that.
Yeah, like
Until he's immediately ready to smooze another woman later in the movie. But yes.
Well,
no,
he only does that out of
did that because
necessity.
he had to.
He had to. That was the only way.
Mhm.
He didn't have to kiss her.
He didn't
But
kiss her. She kissed him. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later.
Would you want to kiss Bob Hoskins too?
I'd want to kiss Bob Hopkins if he
Exactly.
was around.
I mean,
you
I
know?
did mention I didn't realize how sexy Bob Hoskins could be.
He's
He's smooth.
he's smooth, and all the things
Smooth.
it's great.
He's a vaudeville trained actor, man. He
Yeah,
can
he
do it
just-
all.
He knows what's up.
He's played so many good. Sorry, this is a. He's
No,
played
it's
so
okay.
many cool roles, like
He's-
like Smee and Eddie
Who
Valiant.
framed Roger?
Yeah, Eddie Valiant.
Mhm.
He was so good in that.
Yes.
It's just wild. In this movie, fun fact, he didn't know what this movie was.
He didn't give a shit. He was drunk the whole time.
Probably. Yeah.
No, he was.
No, yeah, you're right. In our long list of actors who were drunk for the entirety of their performance in this
There
terrible
seems to
movie.
be a common theme with video
in
game
these terrible
movies.
But yes, we're introduced to them. All of a sudden, we're also introduced to Iggy Koopa and Spike Koopa, who are
These actors? I have a little bit of trivia for you.
okay.
Okay. So Iggy,
Fisher
he
Stevens.
was in he played an Indian scientist in what robot movie?
Oh, Short Circuit. Short Circuit is the one where he is super offensively plays a plays an Indian person. He's a white guy. So
And then my other favorite movie, let's see if you know this trivia, nerds. What was his hacker name in Hackers?
it was the plague.
Okay. Well,
Come on.
you
Come on.
got your
Do
nerd
you know?
cred.
Do you know how many times I've watched Hackers in my
I
life?
love Hackers. I love Hackers.
So hack the planet. Hack the planet.
planet.
Hack the planet. Also, if you haven't seen Hackers, go watch Hackers. That movie is fantastic.
I guess I need to go
And
watch
then
Hackers. It's got Matthew
Spike-
Lillard in it.
Yeah, it's Matthew Lillard's in it. Yep.
I gotta love Matthew Lillard. Anyways,
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
Spike, my favorite thing that he's been in a lot. He's been in
Yeah,
a
it's Richard
lot. He's got a
Edson.
huge, but he was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He was the garage attendant, when they're driving the car and they're like,
Mhm.
"Woo!"
He's a character actor. He was a 90s character actor. He did a lot of work, a
Mhm.
lot of stuff
he did.
around that time in the 80s too. I mean, go to his IMDb page and look at his movie credits and he's just like, he's all over the place, man. It's great. But yes, comic relief for this movie. That's needed because boy. But they're there and they're kidnapping girls. They show a bunch of newspapers where there's like girls being kidnapped in Brooklyn, like over
Yep.
and over again, like really big font.
And it's
so you
them,
could-
and they're like basically every female that they spot, they're just like, "Oh, it's her. It's gotta be her."
Obviously, that's her.
This is-
Yeah,
this
it's gotta be her.
and it's just like they're just pointing at random people because they cannot tell the difference. Like all human or all mammals look the same to them.
Wild.
Which I
Wild.
kind of thought was that's kind of kind of a funny commentary on things, I think.
Oh yeah, a little bit on
Yeah.
in sort of inherent racism installed
Yeah.
in this in what Dino Hatton, is that what it's
Yeah.
called?
Yeah.
Dino Hatton.
Dino Hatton.
I know Hatton.
Boop-a-doop-a-doop. So basically, Daisy has a piece of the meteorite. They've been kidnapping the wrong people, but eventually they actually do find her whenever the Scapellis sabotage the site because they don't want them to be digging there because they've got to do.
They just want to. They're businessmen. They want to get onto their business.
It's just business, just Italian businessman from New York. Nothing wrong, you know. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. They capture Daisy. They get her. They bring her back through a portal. Takes them to Koopa Town. Dino Hatton, Luigi and Mario follow, and then a lot of other stuff happens.
Jail.
So first they get
right to jail.
Right to jail. You sing songs about Koopa. Right to jail.
Right to jail.
Right to jail.
As we meet Toad later, and he does that, and he goes to jail. They eventually there's this whole plot device of having a de-evolution / evolution machine, and they devolve Toad into a Goomba.
Who is Mojo Nixon? Who's like, I guess in the 90s he was like a well-known musician of some kind.
Sure.
But yeah,
I didn't really know him.
Me neither. But they do. I will say, speaking of music, though, the music in this movie was written by Alan Silvestri. So anytime that you were listening to that like really exciting that
it sounded like carnival music, almost like circus music.
But that's Alan Silvestri though. That's like he wrote a lot of the big.
Yes and no. Stuff. I mean, he also did. I'm pretty sure he did The Incredibles, didn't he?
He did.
Which is not.
I think he also did.
He did Star Trek.
Star Trek. He did
the new Star Treks.
Yes. A lot of other things.
So Mojo Nixon, by the way, was like the 80s version. Like he just did like parody music almost.
Got it.
Funny kind of novelty songs. So Weird Al of the 80s with like a punk rockabilly.
Who?
Mojo Nixon.
Mojo Nixon, yeah.
So he was like most well known for a one music video that went on MTV called Elvis is Everywhere. But he did like a song called Debbie Gibson is Pregnant, Jesus at McDonald's, stuff like that.
I was huge into parodies. I've always been huge into parody songs.
Right,
I still don't recognize him.
That was one reason I was like,
90s.
Maybe Carrie would know. But.
Early 90s parody songs.
Okay.
No,
Dan,
80s.
Do you know how old I am?
26. Let's go. But yeah. So
we're really struggling to get through this plot. But basically, the whole plot is
they struggled to get through the plot. That's the problem.
That's true.
There's a bunch of stuff happened. There was a car race. They have electric cars for some reason. The only thing I could think of was that because there was they were dinosaurs, there was no fossil fuels. Maybe I don't fucking know.
Oh, that's amazing,
Would
Chris.
make sense.
Hold on a second.
That's a good point.
That's an amazing.
That's the only thing I could think of.
But that's amazing. I didn't even think about it. I thought it was just like a dystopian, different world. But like that's holy crap. There's no fossil fuels because there's no fossils. That makes so much sense.
Been
wow,
like
Chris, good job.
A fun thing for somebody to think of during the
for
movie to let us know.
Yeah, well, and like for a movie that like takes things so ridiculously literally all the time and like is just like over the top cheesy, for them to have something that deep would shock me. Like if that was the reason.
Now, I do want to remind everyone, this is a children's movie. This is a movie for kids.
It is not a children's
movie.
Actually,
they had to go back and rewrite it because it got too dark at one point, and
of course it did.
They were saying they had to go back and try to make it more of a family movie, but
they had a fight in a strip club.
That's true.
Yeah, I know.
And the outfits there, we were like Carrie goes, That's risque.
Well, it's just like I didn't expect that because it was basically a children's movie up until that point. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not like even. I mean, it was certainly not a children's movie. Like,
It's not a
definitely
movie for children.
PG-13. It's, but like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to be prude or anything, but like, there were girls
was
in
the
thongs
rating?
and shit. And
That's
like
true.
they were like very focusing a lot, and you could tell it's probably because they were music video
It was PG.
directors.
It was PG. Yeah, it's back whenever. Remember, like the Goonies was a PG movie, but that like would never fly as a
Well,
Right.
PG movie these
Airplane.
days.
Holy shit, Airplane's PG.
Airplane's PG. Yep.
Airplane should not be PG.
Yeah,
Uh.
there's a lot of movies in the 90s where I'm like, oh, I loved this as a kid. Let me show it to children. And then halfway through, I'm like, oh, why am I doing this? I'm going to get calls from parents. I'm so sorry. I'm just like, I had no idea this was in here. And in the 90s, this was rated PG, and I thought everything was fine with it. And now I'm just like bored.
Yeah.
And then a lot with song lyrics lately.
Huh.
Listening to older songs going, what is this really about?
What's
oh my
this about?
God.
Do you remember?
How are we singing this? And our parents were okay with it.
Do you remember the band Bewitched from
Yes.
the early 2000s?
Say you will, say you won't, say you'll do what I don't. Yes.
They sang that a bunch on like Disney Channel and on Nickelodeon and stuff. That song is about sex. It is about having sex or like doing BJs
Dude,
on people,
most
I think.
songs are about sex, dude. What are you?
I said, hey, boy, sitting in your tree. Mommy always wants you to come for tea. But it sounds innocent.
It's
It sounds
not,
very
though.
innocent.
It's very not. But anyway, back to the movie. So now they're in Dino Hatton, right?
Yep, they're racing through it in their electric cars because there's no
Say,
fossil fuels. And go ahead.
When they got there, did anybody else get a Total Recall vibe?
Oh, it
off
was
the
definitely
city?
like it was definitely like it felt like it was either
It was
Um,
it was like yeah, and like
was
it
like
definitely
Blade
took
Runner.
inspiration from Blade Runner, like Mad Max a little bit too, and
Total
Well,
Recall.
yeah, they were saying Mad Max, Blade Runner, Die Hard, but it was actually influenced by Ghostbusters and The Wizard of Oz.
so
that was the
Harold
idea.
Ramis was supposed to be
Ramis.
potentially Ramis was potentially one of the directors.
Right,
Oh,
yes.
really? They
wanted
And he
him to
turned it
direct.
down,
And he
but
turned
he
it
would have
down.
been better because he
Oh, yeah.
actually liked the video game. He
Yeah.
was,
And
he
he's-
played it.
Yeah.
That's what these movies need so much of. Is just one person who really understands the game
Who
to
played it
and say
knows what's bad.
no. That's
Just-
all they need.
Just no. But I think there some notable things. So once they get to Dino Hatton, we're introduced to King Koopa or President Koopa. It's not exactly clear whether he's a king or president. Like there's a big billboard that says "Vote for Koopa," but like, why would they
He's
be
President
voting?
Koopa. They're calling him. Well, I mean, I think it's one of those Putin situations.
That's true. Yeah, probably.
Right. I think it's implied that he pretended there was a choice in the matter, but
there wasn't,
he's
yeah.
credited as King Koopa.
Right. So King Koopa's there. There's also Lena, who is Aunt Petunia from the Harry Potter series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
She's been in so much.
She's in a lot of stuff. So she's there. She's like his evil henchwoman, but she's also like in love with
Girlfriend.
him or girlfriend or whatever. She works at the company because there's a Koopa company that they're a part of. So they hate plumbers. No explanation as to why.
What is there? So one of the things that they had with King Koopa, President Koopa, with that whatever, is that he was like a OCD and like germophobic and like basically like was always had to be clean, except for when he was bathing in mud, which he liked because it was
Moisturized.
both clean and dirty at the same time. Whatever. But like he was like very
Moisturized.
focused about like cleaning, making sure his hands were clean.
I don't know.
I think it was a moisture thing. Like,
Or
he
was it
trying-
related to like because
He was trying not to
the
have
king of the
scaly
mushroom
skin.
kingdom was like a fungus and kind of icky, so he
See-
was trying to not be like that. Like that was like a whole thing. They made it very clear, like to the point that I'm like, maybe I don't know something about Bowser
That's the
that
thing.
I should.
That was one of the other things where it's like, okay, this is another thing that they clearly tried to implant as making this world feel real, but they don't explain it, so then it's just confusing. And that's what the whole movie is. It's like,
Yes.
I took it as, okay, the mushroom is everywhere and he wants his area to be clean because the mushroom fungus is actually spoiler alert, doesn't matter at this point. Can we go to the end? It's actually the previous ruler, right?
Yeah, it's the mushroom king.
But like, does he even
AKA
know
Daisy's
that?
dad.
Yeah.
Like, he should know that, right? Because nobody
know
addresses it.
He does know that because he was the one who did it.
And he even has a monologue.
But the fact that the old king is spreading out all over the place, is that ever addressed? Did I miss it?
No, he did. He says it. He says whenever he introduces Daisy to her father, the fungus,
Right.
He says. He says to him. He said, "Well, you always wanted to be everywhere, and now you are."
But he's okay with it. He's just like fine.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because remember the whole point of the dinosaur evolutionary humans is that their brains are smaller, and he even says that because there's like the evolution. There's a whole plot point where there's a de-evolutionizer that he uses.
Yeah,
that he can
Toad to
evolve
make him
people.
into a Goomba. He can also evolve people.
Yeah. So
And he just thought of evolving fucking
his dumb
Spike.
minions,
yeah, Iggy,
Iggy
and Spike.
which
And
are
Spike.
characters
Yeah,
in
they are. Yeah.
in the game. But
Yeah,
Yep.
but that's the whole plot point. Is basically like I think that the
Well, and he gets hit by it, but like, is that like a lead up for the end, like when he does devolve fully, or like what?
No, I mean I think it's just
Or is it just like, you know what I mean? Like there's a part where he gets hit by the de-evolution thing, and his like eyes flash Bowsery.
it could
Like a
be
T-Rex.
I mean
is what-
T-Rexy, sorry,
T-Rex because
Yeah.
he's a T-Rex. Also,
Side note, I did love that he held his hands like a T-Rex
everyone,
a lot of the time.
all of the Koopas did. Any of the Koopa people, they all held their hands like in front of them like this,
like a T-Rex.
like a T-Rex.
I thought that was pretty
T-Rexes, though. The Goombas.
yeah, the Koopas aren't.
Not the Goombas.
No, not the Goombas. The Koopas. So Iggy and Spike
Oh,
and
gotcha. Yeah,
King Koopa.
Yeah, he like all the time he would walk like, and that's kind of like Dr. Evil.
They're turtle. They're not T-Rex.
Well, in the movie, they say they are
Yeah.
evolved from
Allison,
T-Rexes.
I know that, and you know that.
We know all of this.
These are points that just annoy me. Okay.
Well, that's what happens whenever you
Turtle.
base your whole movie on basically being a Jurassic Park ripoff, you know?
But not.
But it's like, you know, but anyway.
Well, actually, the goal was to make it Ghostbusters,
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
which it totally felt so Ghostbusters.
it did. Well,
Really?
it did. All the New York scenes definitely
Yeah.
made me feel like Ghostbusters-ish. And I was sitting there thinking, before I realized, or before I looked it up and knew that it was Ghostbusters, I kept feeling that because it had the same like
That sort of
camera style
Yeah.
look and all the cops everywhere. and-
a reverence for New York, one would say.
yes.
Because that's a big
Yes.
part of Ghostbusters is the city of New York. It's just like Sex and the City. The city of New York is another character. So,
Well, and that's why it was Dino Hatton, because it was also New York, but not New York.
right. So
We're by the way, we're terrible at summarizing.
that's
movies.
okay. We're just going through
We're
and
just
talking
kinda
about
talking
it as we're
about
going
it.
through. We'll
Yeah.
hit stuff as we come back later. At this point, so Koopa's like, plumbers, I hate plumbers. And then he goes down, pretends to be a lawyer, talks to them, and then basically gets them thrown into prison some more.
But they escape.
They escape. Did you notice
steal.
that all of the like flamethrower guns all the cops use? First off, everyone's dressed like it's S&M Central, especially the police. They have like spikes and stuff on all their
Yep.
outfits.
So yeah,
I think-
it looked like they looked like super scopes.
They look like super. Well, the super
Some
scopes were
oh no, those are the de-evolution.
the
guns.
de-evolution guns were
were
the
super
Devo
scopes.
guns were super scopes, but whenever they fired their little flamethrower guns, it was like a fireball. So that's kind
Yes.
of like, you know, in
But
There was
Koopa's
also
that
a-
all made sense. The outfits all made sense because Bowser had spikes on his shell. That was like thematically something that I actually
Yeah.
liked.
Me too.
Which
There
there wasn't much.
I thought it was also interesting. There were certain like menus that they had to use like a little pistol for, like
They had
like
to use
kind
the
of
light
like
gun.
the
Yes,
light gun, yeah, which I thought was like kind of a fun nod, but also kind of ridiculous to be like, oh, they should select things instead of like a mouse or like arrows
Yeah,
with a light gun.
with a light
It
gun.
was-
just to be like, look, you know
It
what
was
this is.
so fun, but made no sense why Daisy
Absolutely.
would know to do that.
Absolutely no
Yeah.
sense. But I will say,
Yoshi communicated it to her with his
Oh,
eye.
Did he?
so
Did he?
so let's get to the Yoshi part. So they escape in a car. There's a chase scene that happens. They go out into the desert because there's only Dino Hatton, and then everything else is desert.
It's just desert.
That's it. And then as that's happening, Daisy's been captured. Lena, Aunt Petunia, is like telling her what to do. She's meeting with King Koopa. She's meeting her father. Lena is like, oh, here is the pet of the royal family. It's an unevolved dinosaur, and it's Yoshi.
Which was pretty cute.
It was also the most
Yoshi was
complicated animatronic. It had 200 wires and required 9 puppeteers in order to be able to move.
I mean, to be fair, it looked pretty good.
It did.
Like,
It looked
It
really
looked very good. It looked very good. I just don't know why I couldn't get a Yoshi noise.
You mean the noise?
Anything. Anything that was Yoshi rather
that's
than
basically the same noise as the Lost World.
True.
Lost-
It did
Lost
have
World-
the really long sticky tongue. It did have the long tongue noise. It didn't go meow whenever it did it though. It just
right. Give me Yoshi noises. These are important things.
Oh boy. So that all happens. Iggy and Spike get smartened up. They get evolutionized.
And to show this, Spike, I think, did like, you know what the square root of blah 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 is, and then like said it, and it's like that's how they chose to show that someone was smarter, was just being like spitting out something a calculator could do.
But also he was wrong.
Was he
Uh,
Wrong.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
says. Yeah, he
Yeah,
says.
he
Do you
was.
know what the square root of 26,481 is? He says 191, which is not. It's actually the square root of 3,481.
Right, like
36,481.
so. I didn't know what they were trying to do there. Was somebody just wrong and not wanting to check that for the script?
And like I actually also noticed this later, like they seemed smarter, but they weren't actually maybe that
Oh,
smart.
yeah.
Because like later, like they were still messing things up. They were
Right.
smarter, but like not. But they also
Well, that's because being
thought
evolved,
they were way smarter than they were.
being
if that makes
evolved,
sense.
being smarter doesn't mean that you are wiser. It just means
Right.
that you're smarter. You know.
But
Right.
they're-
It's
but
intelligence
it's-
versus
But in
wisdom.
what
But
way
I
were
think
they
it was
smarter?
more like they were smarter, but they were more like, oh, let me show you how smart I am, even though I'm wrong. Like
I think.
over exaggerating their smartness type thing.
It could be that. It could be that, when they were evolved, it didn't actually make them as smart, but they thought they were because they
Yes.
were
Yeah,
evolved.
yeah,
That could have been a thing. But here's the thing. If you're so subtle in that we're questioning it and we don't know what's happening, you failed
You failed.
as a writer and
That's right.
director. You failed.
Right.
Like, we're questioning, maybe it meant this for so many things, and that's why
Yeah,
the
it
movie
could've-
was
it-
horrible.
Yeah. Well, and like, but also that also could means like maybe it was like a genius movie and we were just like not smart enough for it.
They were smart enough to love this movie.
No PG movie meant for a family
Yeah.
should have that level of IQ. No, that's not the problem here.
So the Cooper reveals that his plan is to merge the two realities because there's two different universes. There's the universe
And
where
he hates his.
he hates everything about his universe because there's no water, or there's very little water.
It's just a
um,
big desert.
It's just big desert. And it's just smells bad. It's gross. He hates it. But he wants to merge the two worlds because he thinks that the dinosaurs would rule better in the other one. Because basically they got shafted. They got the shitty version of it after the meteor fell, and humanity or monkeys got the better one.
Mhm.
But in order to do that, he needs this special necklace that Daisy's supposed to have.
Because no, he cannot go through that portal.
He can't go through that portal.
Reasons.
Iggy and Spike can, but apparently he can't. But he went through this. So he goes through that plot. Unfortunately, the necklace had Luigi did have it, but then it was taken by Big Bertha in whenever they first arrived, and she is a bouncer at the Boom Boom Room. Which, after capturing Iggy and Spike, Mario and Luigi are like, "Oh, take us to the Boom Boom Room where we can get that stuff from. We can get the thing from the necklace from Big Bertha." Which one of my favorite scenes in the movie. They change clothes, which is great.
Mario goes and seduces Big Bertha, which
he does.
He does successfully, and they dance, and he steals the necklace off of her, and then he disappears, and she's sad.
That was.
I don't understand. I felt bad.
I felt bad for Big Bertha at that point.
Also, I don't understand why she was not mad.
Well, she stole it from them. I mean, it's like a finders keepers situation, right?
But if this was a D&D campaign, Allison's had enough. She took. Okay.
Allison's like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
No. So sorry. I had to check on something. No. I was checking on something. Go on.
What was I saying?
She was romanced. Mario
yeah,
had great moves, and
we do know that Mario.
But why wasn't she mad?
Because if Mario, if Bob
Mario's
Hoskins,
such a stud, man.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, but also like
her.
You'd be mad too if Mario started.
But at the beginning of the movie, they established her as a character that did not give a shit.
Well, Mario, though, I mean,
he's one fine piece of man.
He's doing something right, you know. Like, it's
she likes his mustachio.
It's the mustache. It's got to be the mustache.
Gotta be.
But
he definitely says, "I'm so suave, no one can ever resist me," with no context as to why that's true, but we just have to accept it.
It's the 90s. We're just okay with
Italian guy, you know.
Italian guy, you know.
Which just makes me think that he's stepping out on her. By the way, that he's so confident in this fact. I'm telling
Daniela?
you. They made him seem skeezy there. No. I didn't like it. Right. They made him seem like he loved her so much, and then they made me feel like he was skeezy. Like, they didn't have to do that.
But, like, also, sorry, this is going back to the beginning but a little bit, but, like, he, like, this whole time, like, he was just kind of, like, along because Luigi wanted this to happen a little bit.
Yeah.
And he just kind of, like, had to follow. The scene where he, like, was going into the portal was also fantastic.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, all he had to do
comedy,
there.
That part was
great.
Perfect. But like, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to get him. I'm going to show him what Mario is all about." Like, why did he care so
Thank
much?
You, Gary.
Why did he care so much?
Why did Mario care so much?
Yeah, why did he care so much?
Because listen, it's Mario.
Gee. So he wants his brother to be happy and find happiness, you know?
Now that is a big part of the character. I do think like the hero's journey for each of these characters is very good, because if you had to put it into words as this movie is going on, so the whole Luigi's whole thing, Luigi and Mario, their big flaws in the beginning of the movie. Mario doesn't like know how to go with his gut. He doesn't believe in any. He like doesn't just believe in stuff. Like basically, it's like he's very like textbook. He's like, buy the book, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff.
Right, they're meant to be opposites.
And Luigi is very he's like, I believe in it. This is telling me what to do, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't know. He never has his tools. He doesn't use the tools that he has to go with it. The hero's journey they go on throughout this movie really does a good job of like making us believe they did. Like Luigi learns that it's like, oh, it's okay to use your tools. These are the things you have to think about, the stuff you have to be able to use it, while still not giving up on his belief stuff. And Mario learns to believe in things, which is, you know, the whole point of the stuff. Which there's the scene at the end, which we'll get to eventually. But
I liked his Rainbow Road tool belt.
Yes, that was good.
Yes. Well, all they had to do, though, all I'm saying is like, it's a huge issue for me that all they had to do to make Mario also invested in this plot was to have somewhere like had somebody end up letting him figure out that Daniela was captured. First off, that would have been a very easy thing.
He didn't know Daniela was captured
until the very end.
Until he saw her whenever he was looking for the princess.
Right. So all they had to do was have like a list, something on a wall somewhere that he saw with the pictures of all the captured girls, and he's like, "Wait a minute, then he has equal like stake in all of this rather than just helping Luigi, which was fine. But I just thought it was weird that was thrown away.
Yeah,
like Daniela didn't need to be there.
Like realistic, or he just needed to like know about it earlier, like you said.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like that would have been a great additive to the plot and make them both equally invested in this in a very emotional way, and it would have been more interesting. And like Mario, in that scene where Mario is like swooning Bertha, right? All they had to do for me to not feel like he was being skeezy was be like, just like give him that moment of like, well, this is weird for me, but I'm great at this, and I'm gonna do it for you.
Wow,
like
you
Luigi.
are really hung up on this, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
There's
that's
lots of things I'm hung up on because like the writing was so weak.
It's like so. You talked about it at the beginning too.
She's very upset about this Bertha.
No, I'm just saying. I'm using it as like
2023.
I'm using it as a tool to show like there were easy ways to fix these problems.
Oh,
and they just didn't do any of them.
But that's the lesson we've learned from doing so many episodes of the GameView podcast. Is there are so many easy ways to fix all of the problems with these terrible movies. No one does it though. They don't. They don't. We don't know why.
You know what you have to do?
What?
You know what you have to do?
What?
Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur.
Open the floor. Yeah, that's great.
The soundtrack was great for this.
I love
that. Apparently that wasn't made for this movie, but
it wasn't. But I think they redid that. This was like a different version of it, though.
Yeah, it was George Clinton.
Clinton. George Clinton did it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was originally Was the name of the band.
Yes. But so a lot of stuff happens. Basically they do that. They get the rock back. Bertha's helping them. They escape from the Koopa troopers, which are the police force. Then what happens? Then
who are just people.
Right, who are just regular dino people.
They're not dino people. They're just normal people.
Well, they're just normal people.
They're dino people.
They're dino people. They're like dino people, though. Not monkey people. There's monkey people and dino people. We've talked about this. But there's...
Question. I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What came first? This Mario movie or the theory that there are lizard people among us?
Oh,
I mean, the lizard people theory is older.
It depends on who you ask, but I mean, the lizard people would tell you that this came first because, they're running everything. But they go to Koopa Tower because they have to rescue.
The idea of a reptilian conspiracy came from something published in 1929.
Okay. Wow. Way before.
Wow.
Way
okay.
Before. But so they go to Koopa Tower and they find out in the basement, they're like, oh, look at these pipes. There have been plumbers here for a long time because they hate plumbers for some reason.
Well, and like they always shoehorn that they're plumbers, which is like,
get those plumbers. That's what they say.
Not even really a thing in the games. Like no one gives a like they're not plumbers in the game.
Right.
They're just dudes
Mario
that happen to dress like plumbers. They are not plumbers.
Jump down tubes.
That's kind of it, but they have to force it in every second they can to be like, oh yeah, 100%. And they're plumbers.
Yep. But they do. This is whenever they do don their iconic red and green jumpsuits that we see. Which honestly, that was great for a '90s movie. I think that like the reveal of them in their
overalls
of their overalls was very cool. I love that John Leguizamo's had the backwards green baseball cap, and that's how they made him the cool young Luigi.
and up until this point, Mario is wearing green and Luigi wears red. And up until that point, they switch.
Right.
Maybe that's to represent that they like had those different ideologies and like kind of traded some of that over. And man, I'm trying to give this movie way so much credit.
I know, that's such a nice theory that I don't think was true, but yeah.
I'm trying.
But yeah, and then they go through.
Were you paid by the director and writer?
Yes, I'm a shill for Super Mario Bros.
For the Super Mario
movie from 1993.
But then the elevator scene happens. That like the heroics thing happens, and then the elevator scene happens.
And they basically just make a bunch of Goombas dance to like the music.
Which is fully unnecessary, but probably the best moment in the movie.
It's so fun.
Alice and I were loving it.
It was so long and so unneeded.
Long. It's like, Mario, everybody loves to dance. Come on, Mario. It's fun.
And like that was such an important part of this movie.
And especially because it comes back over and over again. Yeah. Because it was like, sir, the Goombas are dancing again.
With Bertha, it was like, if you dance with me, then I will. And so he's like, okay. Everybody just... It's a Dino Hatton thing. Everybody loves dancing.
Everybody get on the floor. Yeah. Everyone's got to do the dinosaur.
But then also Iggy and Spike reveal themselves to be double agents. They have been supporters of the Mushroom King the whole time.
So here's a question for you. Have they always been supporters, even when they were dumb and they were purposefully finding the wrong person? Or are they lying about being supporters and are just doing that?
There's no way to know. There's no possible way to know.
Wouldn't that have been great? Wouldn't that have been great if they were like, we've always been supporters. We've been sabotaging the whole time. We knew where the princess was. That would have been so good. That would have been great. But we just have to wonder about their whole actions.
And that's why this movie's so deep and so like
makes you think. No, it just didn't have enough plot.
I love going to a children's movie and getting into existential like crisis moments where I'm questioning like everything that a character has done. That is literally why I watch children's movies.
The more I think it's genius.
It is absolutely genius.
You're making it genius. Maybe if you wrote it, it would have been, but because you didn't, it is not. Okay.
So Luigi and Mario show up. Luigi saves Daisy. Mario saves the rest of the girls. That one girl is the most annoying voice, gives everything away. Whenever Danielle is like pointing to her friends, just like, my boyfriend's up there. And she goes, hey, Mario! It's just like, why would you do that? You idiot. So stupid.
So after this, they slide down a slide. When they found the pipes earlier, they shut off all the heat and started pumping AC, so it got really cold.
Because lizards are cold-blooded.
Because basically they needed to slide down this pipe on a mattress.
Right.
That was the whole reason for that.
That's the whole reason.
I don't know if you noticed, but the girl with the cigarette was holding a lit cigarette the entire time. While they were sliding down.
A fun scene to film. Because they looked like they were going fast. Like it didn't look like it was sped up or anything. Like they were really
They were probably going fast. Imagine there was a person's job in the to be like, okay, we need to make sure she has a lit cigarette every time that she's in a scene.
No, they're gonna notice. People are gonna notice if her cigarette is not lit.
Just cases of cigarettes. Just they go light it up. It's like hold it. Don't smoke it. Just hold it. This is a children's movie apparently. But they do that slide thing. They all meet up again. There's a big fight between Koopa and Mario. But Lena stole the rock. Lena, who is the actual villain, she stole the rock, goes to the meteor. And Petunia. She tries to merge the worlds to show like she's the one who's really in charge, but instead she gets blown into a wall and turns into a fossil.
I thought that was cool.
It was very
cool. She left a good impression.
I like that her hair also left
Best joke. But then it took. But so She does merge the worlds. Everything goes into it. Koopa is there with some Goombas. Shoots Scapelli, who's there with a
He turns into a monkey.
He turns into a monkey.
He devolved.
Yep, he devolved. He was like, Mr. Scapelli?
There's some high quality like 90s monkey tricks in there too, you know.
There were. Yeah, just that
was good. Yeah.
You know, the forehead smack. And then Luigi and Daisy working together use their tools. Luigi figured he has his tools with him, and
because he switched thingers with Mario, who doesn't have his tools now,
right?
Because
yeah,
Luigi has Mario. Yeah, it's okay.
But he does, and then they managed to pull it
It's
out.
a metaphor.
But the one tool that Mario has is the mushroom. It's like a little mushroom.
Because now he's trusting the mushroom.
Well, he's like
Luigi has told
Luigi
him
said,
the whole
trust
time.
the mushroom, trust the fungus, or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's like, no, that's stupid. Now he's like, I do this now
because he uses as the shield.
Yep, and then it manages to shoot it back at Koopa, who de-evolves into primordial ooze. Everybody in Dino Hatton is elated that Koopa is done. Goombas are dancing in the streets. They don't merge the worlds, but Daisy has to stay there with Yoshi and Toad to try and rebuild with her father. Also, her father becomes
unmushroomed,
unde-evolutionized for no apparent reason.
For no reason.
Right. It clearly was all in, King Koopa himself, and not the machine that he used to transform everyone. So as soon as he's gone, the powers are gone because this is magic now and no longer a machine.
Yep,
it's perfect sense to me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's all kind of
Before
a mess.
that happens, they got rid of the Twin Towers.
Oh my gosh.
That was very traumatizing to watch.
That was so weird.
Well, and also the towers that they had in Coop Hatton.
Dino Hatton.
Dino Hatton. Yeah.
Were the Twin Towers. Like those were like King Koopa's towers.
Yeah, they were King Koopa's
Which
towers.
I thought was
But the way they disintegrated them in that exact eerie way was very weird. Yes. And that was the only thing that was disintegrated in that
because
scene.
So you see, it's kind of like the Simpsons predicting stuff.
Okay.
So they had the voice of Homer.
I'm just gonna cut it off.
I'm
just gonna cut that off. We're just gonna cut that
See the connection.
And then so the Daisy stays in the Mushroom Kingdom,
presumably to fix all the wrongs that
fix all the stuff
King Koopa did, and
Mario and Luigi go back. They are famous
but
now.
Luigi is madly in love with her, and it has been 24 hours.
Yes, it has been 24 hours, which we all know.
And he spent at least an hour and a half with her. So that's
they went to dinner.
In love.
They went to dinner, remember?
They went to dinner, right. Presumably an hour. And then 30 minutes.
He's big sad now. Until they have a stinger at the end of the movie of Daisy coming back and being like, oh, this thing happened. You gotta help. They don't say anything about what that thing was.
That's very Back to the Future-esque.
It is.
No, it's even less. It's even less background than Back to the Future was. You have no. They just say a thing's happened. Something. They literally say something's happened.
They had no idea where they were going with this. They were very.
It was very open for sequels, but also that's where you get the best line because number one, they both grab their tools instead of Mario saying Luigi to remember his tools again. Hero's journey. And then and Luigi's and Mario's and because what Daisy says is you guys are never going to believe this. Mario says, I'll believe it. Luigi's like, you do? He's like, yeah. And credits.
And scene. So we all know now that this movie is way deeper than we thought it was.
No, it's not. It's just a mess. It's just a mess.
I mean, it really...
a thing that said this was the first feature-length live-action movie based on a video game.
Really? The first?
Technically, yeah. So there was The Wizard, but it wasn't based on it, right? But it just had video game stuff in it. But yes, this was the first.
Yeah, no, it was the first
And
one.
almost the last because of how poorly
Thank
it was received.
God it wasn't. Although there are a ton of bad ones out there.
It was like the sole reason why Nintendo refused to do movies and TV shows for a little while.
Pretty much.
No?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't the Zelda game, the Zelda TV
so-
show, or the
What was
Mario
this?
TV
There's
show.
a lot of bad
or-
stuff. So Dennis Hopper, King Koopa, great. Honestly, Dennis
He
Hopper,
was pretty fun.
I think
He made the best of a bad situation.
Hot take. I think everyone who acted in this movie, short of Daisy, I really feel like everyone was trying as hard as they could to act good, like to do good acting.
Great actors, all of them.
I
They were
think
great
I
actors
think Bob
with shitty
Hoskins
writing.
was just having the most fun as he could.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the
It's-
actors aside from Daisy.
Because like Bob Hoskins, historically has said that he was fucking wasted the entire time.
Oh
of
yeah,
this
probably.
filming.
Well, he didn't know what the movie was anyway. Carrie, go ahead.
He did. His kid told him. His kid showed him the video game.
Yeah,
That's
well-
how he found out what it was about.
Yeah. You're right.
But he found out like during after he got the role and stuff. That was it.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
he
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know
yeah.
before he
Right.
took it. But yeah, I just, as far as the acting goes, I thought the acting was pretty good. That wasn't my big problem.
I mean,
Oh, Daisy,
Yeah.
she was Krista in Fern Gully.
Oh, she
Oh.
was? No way.
Yeah, I had no idea when Carrie told me
That's
that.
great.
one.
Fern Gully's so good.
That's such a
I
great
love
movie.
Fern Gully.
That's a great movie.
I know the baddie rap by heart.
But yeah,
I could always listen to the Hexus
Yes.
Broil and Brime or whatever the hell it is.
Mhm.
But there's
Little
so many
toxic love.
Toxic Love, yes.
Mhm.
but Dennis Hopper and Bob Hoskins both basically said like the production was a mess. Like the
I believe
husband
it.
and wife
Oh.
directing team that were doing it were just awful.
Yeah, well, they went through 3 directors before they got to that duo, I think.
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3.
When I
Yeah.
heard they were a hot mess to work with.
Yeah, and they were apparently
And
like
by heard,
not,
I mean read, because
not great. And then the script writers, they went through like a bunch of those too, because like they almost had the guy who did Rain Man, the script for that.
Interesting.
He was part of it because they named the they give scripts different names to like throw people off. They called it
like
Drain
Blue
Man.
Harvest and
They called
Drain
this
Man.
movie Drain Man.
Drain
I didn't
Man.
see that. That's funny.
that's
That's
awesome.
funny.
But yeah, so they did with him, and then they were like, "No, it's too much like Rain Man. Can you change it?" And he was just like, "No, I'm leaving." And so he just like pulled himself off the project, I guess.
Listen, I know
Um,
what works, and what works is Brain Man.
Right. So then
Drain.
they took another duo who wrote another script, and like they actually really loved it. Like Nintendo loved it, and producers and stuff. But the director at the time like refused it, I guess. But that isn't even the director they ended up keeping. So then that one didn't work, and then they went with excuse me, the script that they did now, which was by the same people who did Mystery Date, which I actually haven't seen, and now I want to watch.
But
Yeah, me either. So it's a thriller comedy.
Probably.
So I guess for some of the darker tones. And then like halfway through, they decided we don't like the script that's already been approved by Nintendo, the producers and the directors. So they decided to make it more like Ghostbusters was what they wanted. So they demanded a rewrite, like after it was all accepted.
This is
And at this
insane.
point, like the financial backers are like so upset that a movie isn't getting filmed yet because they've gone through so much that they just had to let it happen. And it was completely changed into what it is now.
Oh
which
boy.
is a hot mess.
Oh boy. Hot mess. It did, however, it did innovate and introduce some like some like visual effects. like this was the transition time from like principal to digital visual effects in movies. So there's a lot of stuff in this like that interdimensional merge thing that happened, like with all the little like specks and stuff. It was inspired by the teleporter from Star Trek, but it was the first time they had to do like it was film scanned from digital intermediate from digital intermediate. So it was like instead of having like to do everything directly on the film, they could do it on the digital intermediary, which is why there was a lot of visual effects stuff that was really pretty cool. So just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah, and the actors also didn't memorize their lines, by the way, until essentially action was called, because the script was changing so much so frequently that they knew they shouldn't bother.
Yeah, it was.
That's how bad it was. No wonder this was like such a mess. Like, because I told Carrie, I was like, there has to be something here. Like at the end, she was like, yeah, I'm going to look up like information on this, because it just felt like nothing made sense, and they were changing things on the fly. So of course there wasn't any like continuity.
There's another thing that plays into what Allison, your thought about him being a germaphobe, about Koopa being a germaphobe. So there was this scene where they first introduced the de-evolutionizer, right? Do you remember there was whenever someone slips on the pile of green goo that's at that? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So
Not
that
really.
green goo, it appears there out of nowhere, because there was a cut part of that scene where one of the guards sneezes and Koopa puts him in the de-evolutionizer, and they de-evolve him until he becomes slime, and that's what
I
that
did read
puddle
that.
of slime is there.
Oh.
See, continuity. That's why I'm like, I appreciate Chris for trying to like make these things make sense in some kind of very like top down, like very mental kind of way.
Well,
but I just think it was this where
and
they
maybe-
just cut stuff out, so we missed everything.
I think part of that is because like Max Headroom was a commentary on people at the time, and like was trying to kind of like, I don't know, there was a little bit of like thought behind of Max Headroom, so maybe I was thinking that they would give a little bit of thought to this, but I
I
mean,
don't think so.
for the most part, it was probably just like, fuck it, let's do it.
I don't
Like,
think so.
you know, like, does that make sense? Like,
No, I mean it does, but I don't think that's what happened. I think that they just a lot of too many people involved with it.
Too many chefs.
Too many cooks. So we know this is nothing like the video game. We know the video game comparison is like out the window, right?
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I thought that this whole movie was an attempt to make the very little like content of story that Super Mario had at the time palatable to a larger audience. Like they were trying to make it cool and interesting to more people, and by doing so made it awful.
Yeah, and I think like there's ways to do that too, but staying true to core values of something is very important, and that's what was really missed here.
And
Like,
I
there
would
was
say
nothing
that
core value.
the best version of that I can say right now that I've seen recently is the D&D movie.
Right.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep talking about that movie because it's awesome.
Chris has watched it like 18 times. But
I watched it a lot too. I get it.
it's so good.
but it really is. I mean, it's like whenever you want to make something true to it, it does really well, and we all know that.
Right, and even they took some liberties, but they took the right liberties and
Right,
kept
they made it like accessible to people that don't know anything about D&D, and like make
That
it
was just
fun and like,
quality movie. If
Yeah.
you change this movie to any different title, it should still be a quality movie, and that's the problem. Is no to me. No.
Yeah.
That's a no. That's a no
It's-
for me.
it's for me.
Dog.
It's a bad video game movie, but a kind of fun 90s, like 80s, 90s movie.
Yeah,
No.
no, I agree. I think it was fun. It was stupid. It was silly.
It was so dumb.
It was
was
almost
really
Teenage
terrible.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know,
No. Oh no. Oh, that hurts me. It wasn't to me. I like bad good. I really like bad good stuff.
Well,
And
it's some bad good stuff that you like.
Okay, so here's the thing about this, and I was talking to Carrie. I thought this movie was one of those for me, but I had created a fake movie in my head.
You made it better than it was.
Oh yeah, we were talking about because she was remembering the cartoon.
I was remembering the cartoon. You know the live action bits in the cartoon
with Captain Lou Albano as Mario.
Yeah, that was the
But she didn't
Super
know who
Mario
that
Brothers
was.
Super Show.
No, I didn't even know who that was. The Mario Super Show. So I was thinking it was that, but with John Leguizamo as Luigi. So I have seen this movie, but I must have blacked it out completely in my memory and replaced it with good things and thought that those guys were in this movie, and it was just goofy fun and stupid and
it
I was
is
so
fun and stupid.
But
no.
That's a very specific type of trauma response that you had.
Yes, I mean that's how bad it is. And so watching this again, I was ridiculously disappointed because I wanted that goofy fun, and I didn't feel it at all in this. I was just confused.
I gotta tell you,
this was her Sinbad wearing a genie outfit.
It was, but that's also my Sinbad. I remember that too. So I just make shit up.
It's still not the worst movie we've seen.
It's not, but we're gonna get to that in a little bit. Does anyone have any final thoughts about the movie in itself? Anything they wanted to bring up that we haven't discussed yet?
Looking through
Bob
my
Hoskins
notes.
rocks.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, Bob. Yeah.
Go watch. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Go watch it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we're discussing him with this movie where he said
the same accent.
Did you notice the Babam was wearing Reeboks?
I did.
I saw that at the end. Yeah,
that's so weird.
Of course they were.
It's so weird that it was just that was the only Reebok thing.
How can we get them in there?
I think also the boots, like the jump boots that they had, were
those were supposed to be
also
Reeboks
or something like that. I can't remember.
Wow.
Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper both said this is the only movie they ever regretted in their career. So that's something.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Boy.
Man, Bob Hoskins in Enemy at the Gate was pretty bad.
And this is the one.
No, I actually think he was a worse actor in Enemy at the Gates because he had like a very shitty Russian accent.
I mean, correct, but he still regretted this more. That's what I'm saying.
That's wild to me because that was bad. I actually respect him more for this movie than that movie. I do love Enemy at the Gates, though.
All right. Anything else? Anyone have anything else they wanted to bring up? No. All right. Let's get to the numbers.
Yeah.
So, if no one has looked, what do you think, Chris? What do you think? Have you looked at the budget for this movie?
No.
What do you think the budget for this movie was, Chris?
Well, we're talking $90.
Just give me a number.
$70 million.
Okay, Allison.
I don't know anything about the pricing. I know it went over budget, so $2 million. Because I don't have concepts of anything.
Carrie, did you look at it?
I don't know budget,
answer,
so I can't. I won't. But Allison's the closest without going over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not even close.
Without even close. No, it's estimated roughly like $48 million is what they spent on this movie.
I have no concept of those things.
Actually, I was closer.
Without going
over.
Without going over. Price is right.
I
was still closer.
So this movie grossed $20,915,000. So almost $21 million. So,
I
did see something else afterwards that it actually put it at like global at 30 million.
Global's at 30. Domestic is 20. And that's kind of where I usually like draw whether it's a success, because you could be a global success, but it takes a while. It's really all about
well, it's a little bit different now.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it was from Japan.
Probably a lot. Opening weekend, it made $8 million.
Yeah.
So that's not very much.
Yeah.
So I just looked up what the average cost of a movie was in 1993 for my sake, because I was kind of confused. Average cost was $29.9 million.
Yeah.
So this was like
This is like
way
twice.
over the
Yeah,
expectation.
Way over budget.
Okay.
So a flop, did not make its money back. This movie was ranked 74th in the year of 1993 whenever it came out. It was beaten by
what were some of the bangers of
the bangers in 1993? We had Jurassic Park came out that same year, making $338 million.
Yeah, and you know what? Like their dinosaurs looked so much better.
So much better.
Like they still hold up.
Yeah, but we had Jurassic Park, and then a lot of stuff like we had like The Fugitive, The Firm, Sleepless in Seattle, Mrs. Doubtfire. Those are the top 5 movies of 1993.
Wow, this
Indecent
is
Proposal.
my sophomore year, end of my sophomore year of high school.
Groundhog Day came out that year too.
I was 4.
But Super Mario Brothers movie was 74th. It beat out movies like Tombstone.
Tombstone?
It beat
What?
Tombstone. Jason Goes to Hell. The
Like
Final
the
Friday.
Tombstone with
Yeah, but here's the thing: Tombstone
I'm your
didn't become
Huckleberry.
popular
I'll be your
until
Huckleberry.
much later. It's like a cult classic.
It's
It
so
was
good,
not.
though.
It was not seen
Val
as.
Kilmer is
Good
incredible.
on
in that
release.
I don't remember it that way. I remember Tombstone being a hit from the beginning. Is that
I
not?
do too.
was that not
it was
the
Oscar.
case?
I thought that wasn't the case. I don't know. I was young,
Look,
but
I was there when it happened. I
thought that was
I
the case.
remember.
I thought
I remember
Tombstone was like Oscar bait.
It had a lot of big star names in it, but in 1993, it didn't make a whole lot of money right out the gate.
Wow,
I think
That's dumb.
That's surprising.
People are bad and they should feel bad.
Yeah, The Crush, it beat that. Weekend at
Crush.
Bernie's
Oh.
2, it beat that one.
Was that the Crush? The clueless girl. What's her name? Was that one?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, Carrie Elwes and.
Oh, Carrie Elwes. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too. Is like back then a lot of
Dazed and Confused
movies-
came out this
Yeah.
year.
Oh, hey, that's my local
That's-
hometown.
I feel like
Oh,
a lot
yeah?
of these movies
That's
were
such a fun
so
movie. I love
Austin.
that movie.
so dependent on like advertising and like really
keep
the
getting
marketing
older.
being good.
That movie stays the
'cause-
same age.
Because like reviews and stuff didn't get to people as quickly.
Oh,
So it was really dependent, like making money on these movies was so dependent on the marketing.
Yeah, advertising.
More than anything else. So a
Star
really good
power.
movie, if it didn't have like this movie was a Nintendo title. So people would see it just because it's Nintendo and they are interested in it, not knowing anything really about it until after they watch it. Whereas today that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
During that time period, gaming was not thought of the same way it is today.
No.
It was
for
not
sure.
a cool thing.
Joe.
Yeah, it really wasn't. And it was very much a little kid thing. It wasn't like even like a, grown-ups, even though grown-ups played it, it was just not marketed that way really.
No, but
Yeah.
like if kids liked it and you wanted to take your kid to a movie, like this would be a good one you thought to take them to because it's a PG movie and it's something your
Just
kids
strip the
like.
dinosaurs,
And
that's
then that happens, right? But you won't know that until afterwards because those things don't come to your face until after in the newspaper, later and things like that.
Oh, and then that creepy, oh my gosh, the creepy goon dude, the Scapelli, whatever.
Scapelli, yeah.
Yeah.
Making faces at Daisy in the beginning was just like,
Ugh,
oh,
Yeah, gross.
so
Great.
gross.
Ray brought up a good
Disgusting.
point. He said this movie was only 15 million less than Jurassic Park, just as note.
To
to
produce.
make.
It was
Yeah.
wild.
Wow.
But like 93 slapped hard.
Yeah, dude, I was just looking.
Jurassic Park, Dazed and Confused, Tombstone, Schindler's List, True Romance, The Sandlot, Groundhog
Ooh,
Day.
This is like-
romance.
Philadelphia,
Nine-
Mrs. Doubtfire, Men in Tights,
Oh,
Demolition
man.
Man, Sleepless in Seattle, Nightmare Before Christmas, Homeward Bound,
Oh,
Hocus
God.
Pocus,
This is- so
Rookie of
19
the Year, Three Musketeers.
1993 was basically the year when movies came out that I rented on VHS
Yes.
so much
Rudy,
when I was a kid.
Adam's Family Values,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free Willy. Incredible year for movies.
Wayne's World 2 came out this year. Home Alone 2. The Bodyguard came out this year.
Oh, yeah. No,
Oh
that
my
was
God.
a wild year of movies. And this
1992
was and Super Mario Brothers was a movie in that year.
Super Mario's existed. And Carrie was a sophomore
What was
in
that,
high
Carrie?
school, you said?
I said, yeah, I was a sophomore. That was the end of my sophomore year, beginning of my.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I graduated in 95.
My gosh. You're opening
I'm so old.
all sorts of doors. We're learning so
But
much.
so wise.
So wise.
But, you know, I was there at the beginning of the NES, you know. I got to experience all that.
To see it.
Yep.
Got to be the
I was an
whole-
Atari kid.
Ugh. It was Atari.
My first console was the N64.
That was your first one. Oh no. I had a Super Nintendo. I had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo.
My parents didn't let me have a Super Nintendo or like a Sega.
Sorry, my dad's a giant nerd, so
That was the one console my dad bought, actually.
Was
He
Sega
bought that one
or-
the Super Nintendo. He bought that for him and the Nintendo. And then after that, all of them were purchased for me.
all right.
But
Wow.
yeah, this movie existed. In
So this movie
1993.
existed, and now it is our duty as the Game View participants to
Duty.
give it a rating. I'm going to start with our wonderful guests, or our wonderful guest first, and then Allison, and then Chris, and then me. So Carrie.
Mustachios?
I mean, it's whatever. The handy dandy Cambridge rating system. You can basically use whatever you want. Doesn't really matter.
I think mustachios.
Okay.
Mario mustachios.
It's great. So, what would you give this movie? And
Like
why?
out of what? One,
Out of
one
how
to
many-
10?
whatever you want.
One to
Pick a
10 or
range.
one to-
You do your own
So
scale.
we'll say out of 5. Okay.
Okay.
I give this a solid 1.5
1.5 out of 5 mustachios.
out of 5 mustachios.
Brutal.
Okay. All right.
Brutal.
Brutal. That's probably one of the lowest ratings we've had on a movie so far.
I will
think-
not watch this again. That's
Oh no!
Ever?
Really?
this twice was enough.
Okay.
3 times
Man,
was
you
enough.
need to
Because I
fucking watch
originally
Blood
watched
Rain.
it.
Four times. would be too much. 4 times
Blood
would be
Rain
too
gives you perspective.
I am gonna go watch that because you guys keep
It's
harping
so
on it
bad.
so much.
It really does.
That's
like, you
fine. I
gotta
will
watch
do
Blood
this.
Rain.
I will
Oh,
do this.
it's
I'm
so
writing
bad.
a note. Blood Rain.
Watch Blood
it's not.
Rain.
It's not pleasant.
It's
It's not
really-
fun.
Like, I don't want you to watch it, really, but
like
I feel like it will
I
give you
laughed a little
perspective.
bit for this movie. I did
Look,
not laugh at Blood Rain. I cried
I did a
at Blood
shark
Rain.
movie marathon the other day. I can handle Blood Rain.
You did a what?
A shark movie marathon the other day.
I
Shark
don't know.
movies are great. Deep Blue Sea, one of the best movies of all time.
Have you
Uh,
seen the new Black Demon one?
Oh god. No. But anyway, we gotta keep moving, Care. We can't keep talking about movies. Oh god.
Well,
Okay.
let's talk about movies.
Let's talk about movies. Allison, ratings and reasoning.
So I give this a 1 Yoshi egg out of 5.
1
Okay.
out of 5
Yes.
Yoshi eggs.
Yeah,
Uh,
because Blood Rain is a 0
So
for
bad.
me. It is a 0. The only thing for me that was okay in this was the acting. So there's your 1.
Yeah, I mean
all
the
of the
actors.
acting
all of
the
the
actors.
Or just Mr. Drunk Hoskins.
No, not all of the acting. I didn't like Daisy, and there were a couple
Yeah,
like
she was-
side
okay.
characters that I was like, whatever. But in general, that was the only thing that had anything going for it. So 1 Yoshi egg. That's it.
Okay.
Chris,
Yeah.
what's your
I'm gonna give it 2.25. 2.5 chained Yoshis. Half of it, the 2 ate the one.
He's cut in half.
The 2 ate the 1, so there's only half
Poor
of it left.
Yoshi.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
no.
it is poor Yoshi. He was all chained up. Out of 5. Because like this movie is straight up bad, but like it's they nailed like the zany like silliness, and like it's like I kind of enjoyed like the Tim Burton Batman kind of vibe to it sometimes,
Okay.
but like for kids sort of very much sort of
Dino strippers. Gotta love them.
Dino strippers.
It seems like, and like I could be putting way too much into this, but like it seemed like they might have actually done some clever things, but like they also did a mess of dumb shit. Mm-hmm. So I would watch this again, but this is one of those movies you watch as a group and talk about how terrible it is, and point out like how ridiculous all this shit is. But it's also like there is like some really good shit, like I was saying, the Bob Hoskins going into the portal with the physical comedy. I thought that was really great. That was one of my favorite scenes of the movie, honestly.
We need a drinking game for this movie.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get ready, you guys.
Oh no!
Because I think of this in a much higher light than you guys do, I guess.
Okay.
Because I like, number one, the plot is terrible. The plot is terrible.
Terrible.
It's nothing like the video game.
It's a bad video game.
It's
movie.
It's real bad.
It's a pretty fun 80s 90s movie.
But using your scale, I would probably give this a 3, like a 3 out of 6. Like this is like a 50%. You know,
that's exactly what I gave.
Is that exactly what you gave it?
All right. It is 5 out of 5.
Remember, he cut a Yoshi in half. He's awful.
I'm not cutting anything in half. I'm gonna do.
But you had so I will say that we killed the same amount of Yoshis.
No, but I'm 3 out of 6 dancing Goombas. So one of those Goombas doesn't have a partner, which is the saddest part.
Oh, that is sad.
This is so interesting to hear your all's perspective. When I literally I watched it with Carrie. Like, she started it 15 minutes before I was going to, and I just happened to tell her I was about to. And so she's like, "Oh, we'll watch it together." I did not laugh once. I was in pain this whole time. I felt like I really did not enjoy it.
Keep in mind, this is the 10th one of these that we've watched. Like these really bad movies. We've been to the highs, we've been to the lows, and really, like, I had a decent time watching this movie. I'm here. Like, I don't know if you know this, Allison, but I'm here for a good time.
I know that this was not a good time. That's why I'm so confused. But it's interesting to hear other perspectives.
But what if you watched it with me? You probably would have a good time.
If we were taking shots and this was a drinking game, I would enjoy it. But I could enjoy staring at a tin can if that's what I'm doing.
If I was doing that during Blood Rain, I would still have a bad time.
I think, honestly, for me, I think it was it's a lot of nostalgia in the right way, where it's like there were a lot of things I remembered from the movie, because I watched this movie on VHS a lot whenever I was a kid. So it was like
fair enough. So, and I made up a different movie entirely that I thought I watched when I was a kid.
As a side note,
that might be why I was so upset.
As a side note, I did just watch the Indiana Jones movie we don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And the first half of the movie, I was like, "Oh, this is okay. This is okay. This is fine."
It takes a leap. And
then it was around the ants. No, it was right before the ants. When they were sword fighting across cars in the middle of the jungle. That's where they lost me.
Crystal Skulls one?
Yeah.
I don't remember that one too much. Once was
probably
enough.
For the best. Yeah.
Once was enough.
I tried it again just to see if it was as bad as I thought I remembered it being, and like I said, the first half was okay and the second half was bad.
Very
bad.
Chris and I have been doing this thing where we rank all of these movies as to where they fall in the list of movies that we've watched. So Chris, where would you rank this movie on the list?
I think that I put it between DOA and Street Fighter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I'm gonna adjust that right now. Once I leave this, I'm gonna put this above the Warcraft movie. Like, this is my third favorite movie.
But interestingly enough, we both put it right behind the Street Fighter movie.
It's right, because Street Fighter is better. Street Fighter did the same.
Street Fighter
thing.
is definitely better. It's the same thing, but better.
It's like, because it still didn't understand the source material, but it was hilarious.
They had some really great acting.
Yeah, really great acting
from like epic, like really great actors. Yeah.
So that's where
that's really funny though. That's really funny that we both put it behind Street Fighter, because it we both kind of internalized that it's a very similar movie.
And
so they're making a new live action Street Fighter movie. Did you know that?
I did know.
I hope it's not by the same people that did the Chun-Li movie, because that was real bad.
Did I watch that one? I can't remember.
What about because they're also making a second new Mortal Kombat movie, because they made the new Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. I mean, they messed up apparently, because the last Mortal Kombat movie, I guess, wasn't that great for some people. I enjoyed it.
It was fine.
I enjoyed it.
They just did some weird stuff. They made some weird choices that didn't make any sense. But
yeah,
as they always
do. The new Mortal Kombat game looks pretty wicked.
It's gross. It's very gross, but very good. All right. Any final thoughts from anyone before we go to sign offs here?
Yes, I'm a harsh critic. I feel like a harsh critic.
No, it's okay. That's the whole point of this, is to be.
That's the whole point. Well, and yeah, we need to get. So, Carrie, what you've seen? You've seen the Warcraft movie and this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, on our list. So, which one's better, Carrie?
The Warcraft movie.
Warcraft movie by a lot. Yeah.
Really? I hated the Warcraft movie. I
didn't like it. I really didn't like Warcraft movie that much, but
actually, I'm one of the few people. I'm one of the few people who really liked the Warcraft movie. I gave it a lot of creative liberty, and I just thought it was boring. I was all right.
See, have either of you? But it was better polished than this. At least it
was better polished. The only problem I really had was with the half-orc backstory, kind of, and her character as a whole. But other than that, I actually really liked the movie.
I think I view the ranking of these films in almost as if I'm ranking them in my enjoyment of them, and
same.
so much as their polish.
Mine's a hybrid.
Yeah. It's my personal how much I enjoyed it. I could not enjoy this movie. It is absolutely right above Blood Rain.
Yeah,
that's it. Right there.
Allison, have you been on any others, or is this the first one of these that you've been on?
This is the first one I've been able to get in
so
on.
I hope you join more.
Yeah, so we can increase your list of movies to rank.
Because
I can rank. Dan
and I have had more different opinions on these, but
than our normal Game Brew stuff. Yeah. Because I think the only thing that we agree on really is
Blood Rain is awful. Rampage was the best, but it wasn't great.
Was the tits, and
it wasn't the tits, but it was the
best we've seen. And Resident Evil is the fourth from the worst.
Yes. Yeah.
See, and I really like Resident Evil because it was just it was good bad to me, and so is Street Fighter. Yeah, I actually have the box set, and I don't know. Nice. I that's a guilty pleasure movie for me for sure. I just like them. I'll make my ranking. I'll make my ranking of these. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and look through, see what your ranking is. That's great.
We
both
hated Lara.
We both hated Lara. Lara sucks. But Tomb Raider is way worse than it got credit for. We're coming to the end of the podcast. Carrie, where can the people find you if they need you?
Well, you can find me on twitch.tv/Pipita, Pippita.
Okay.
Awesome. Do you have a schedule of when you're doing stuff, or?
It's still loosey goosey, but I'm trying to make Wednesdays or Thursdays my stream schedule, and I still have the Bowser Lego that I need to do. And I thought about doing it during this episode, but I was like, nah, I need to concentrate.
Talk
about
you gotta focus.
Yeah.
This is serious business.
But I did get the Pac-Man one, so that might be the next one that I'm building on stream.
That's cool.
Love it. Oh, the Pac-Man machine one. We saw that one.
The arcade,
yeah. Cool. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. Allison, anything you want to plug?
No, I'm going to start streaming as soon as I get some things in order. So I'll be there then, twitch.tv/Finalia. But right now, no, I'm just doing this.
Just doing this, which this is fine. This is enough. Hashtag this is enough. Chris, anything you want to shout out?
Nope. Bob Hoskins rocks.
Bob Hoskins rocks. I'm gonna shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/TubeCrazed. The Mongoose Omelet Boys we usually play on Thursdays. I did get that game that all the streamers are playing only up, and Chris, I did get BattleBit block.
BattleBit remastered.
Yeah, it was on sale, so I was like, okay, that justifies me being able to get it.
It's pretty fun.
Twitch.tv/TubeCrazed. You can check it out every Thursday most of the time. It's just goofy, silly fun with me and my brothers. Yeah, so that's fun. For the Game Brew, next week we'll have a regular podcast. You could tune in here, same Game Brew time, same Game Brew place. You can listen to the podcast on your favorite podcast medium. New episode should be out tomorrow. And that's the Game Brew on your favorite podcasting app. You can also follow us at all of the social medias at the Game Brew, which basically at this point is only Instagram. I mean, really, what else is worth doing things on at this point?
Yeah, but you like the kids do the snap and the tiki-taki.
I could make a TikTok for the Game Brew. I don't know what I'd put on it, but
that's all the kids are into now.
Yeah, just the TikTok. Oh, the kids are into the TikToks.
Fun commissioner could be a tiki-taki.
Oh, the mandatory fun commissioner. Yeah, he would love the thing. You know who else could be my favorite?
Johnny Two Hammers.
Johnny Two Hammers.
Or me, little Scoops. I love the TikTok.
Nobody wants to watch Little
No
Scoops.
one wants this.
I love the Game Brew and TikTok.
But the
TikTok just got worse in my head.
I'm spicy and served hot.
But yeah, so with that, we're going to sign off on the Game Brew the GameView podcast. Oh shit, no, we're not. What are we gonna do for the next one?
Great question.
I don't know. I don't exactly know which ones you guys have watched.
You had the list earlier.
So the list.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
We have watched Hitman, Doom, Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Street Fighter, Resident Evil, Rampage, DOA Dead or Alive, Blood Rain, Warcraft, Super Mario Bros.
Do you want something good or something that's bad?
Ready? Oh wait.
No, that's a book. That's not a movie.
Yeah.
Do you want something that's like good, bad, or bad?
We
do Uncharted.
We haven't.
Uncharted is the reason this like kind of exists.
Right.
It's
we haven't
because
talked about
I
it
was
yet,
like
though.
shitting on how bad it was. It's so bad. It like there was
bad.
like it when they took the helicopters and had the boats. I was done. That killed me. That was bad. It was so bad.
We could do that one because we've never talked about it.
There's Assassin's Creed, Monster
Creed.
Hunter.
Assassin's Creed is good and bad.
Monster Hunter.
I mean, it's bad.
It could be bad too.
I haven't seen the Monster Hunter movie.
Me
But
neither.
that's basically
That's
Hitman.
Resident Evil, but monsters.
Silent Hill.
Side note: there's
Ooh,
a Werewolves Within movie.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. It's originally.
It was.
Sorry, go
So
ahead.
so they made that movie, and they released a game at the same time, Werewolves Within. So
Dan,
it was in
Do
tandem.
you know who the director of Werewolves Within is?
Who?
Josh Rubin
Josh Rubin.
from Noise Boys.
Oh my God,
Josh Rubin.
That's amazing.
Isn't that awesome?
100 Batmans.
What about Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within?
Ooh, Chris.
Which one?
Final Fantasy: Spirits Within.
Final Fantasy Spirits Within. Is that the animated one?
Yes, I would love to do that.
I think we should do that.
We should do that one. Let's do that one because I would love to watch that.
I'm pretty sure
again.
Katie. Oh, is this live action? No,
No, it's just it's CGI.
I'm pretty sure
CGI.
Katie has this.
I would watch this again. Let's do that. So the next movie we're going to do during the summer here is in 2 weeks. Be prepared to talk about.
It's got Alec Baldwin and Steve Buscemi.
Where is this?
I'm ready
where's
to
the
talk about
song?
this
I missed
movie.
it. Oh, hold on.
No, it's okay. I'll get it from Gray.
I'll
You can
send
keep
it.
going.
We have it too. He sent it to me. I played it on the podcast last week. Allison
This
too.
is not free anywhere.
Oh yeah. See, I had to miss that one.
But anyway, yes. So Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within.
It's got the person that was the voice of Mulan.
Ming-Na Wen. Yeah.
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 That fucking
Ming-Na Wen.
rocks.
We stan Ming-Na Wen in this house.
Dude, she's
Mhm.
awesome.
She's amazing.
She
the
gets
best.
down to business and she defeats the Huns.
She does. She's also the cavalry in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if anyone watched that.
Isn't she also, what's her name in...
Fennec. Oh,
yeah,
no.
Fennec.
Yeah, she's Fennec.
Yep, she's Fennec
Yeah.
Shand. Yep.
Boba Fett. yeah.
Basically, any badass character is Ming-Na Wen.
It's her and...
Or
what's her
Michelle
name from...
Yeoh.
Yeah, I was about to say, what's her name from Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that's it.
We stand both of them. They're the best.
They are all the best.
Tim
So,
Brain.
the Final Fantasy Spirits Within, 2 weeks, we will do that. Next
That's
week
like a
should be
good
our...
one. That's good. I like
yeah,
that.
that'll be a good one. The next week is our regular Game Brew podcast. And yeah, so there's that. So we don't have a sign off for this one. So
Dun, 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 dun.
All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. This movie sucked. Bye.
bye.
I mean, we could probably end every podcast of this like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
This,
great.
we don't-
There you go.
Thank
That's
you
the
for
ending.
listening to us. Bye.
I just made one.
This movie sucked. Bye.